Hello, and welcome to the Hidden in Plain Sight webinar series. This is the introduction webinar, which will be much shorter than most of them. I just wanted to take a few minutes today and share with you what you can expect over the next several months with this webinar series. So today we will talk about who I am, why this webinar series is important, who should or could attend and why, the topics to be covered, and some logistical details about the webinar. So I am Holly Todd. I work for Northeastern Utah Educational Services, also known as NUES or NEWS. We are one of 4 educational entities that has the purpose of supporting school districts and charters in rural areas. Our region is the northeastern section that goes from Daggett to Rich and the Wasatch back. Along with my other duties, my main role is a crisis prevention and response counselor. When I was hired, the main focus was to support schools as they experienced a crisis, which was usually a death of a student or a teacher. The role has adapted as school systems have changed. Although I still support the recovery process when needed, I spend more time in the prevention role. This webinar is called Hidden in Plain Sight. This video is just an example of how easy things can happen right in front of us, even with diligent attention.
To test just how much attention the attention-stealing design of the new Skoda Fabia actually steals, we left one parked on this ordinary road in West London. We wanted to see if its sharp crystalline shapes, bold lines, and lower, wider profile would attract the desired level of attention. Will the 17-inch black alloy wheels stop passers-by in their tracks? Will the angular headlights attract the attention of other road users? Will a crowd gather to check out its fresh, sporty look? Well, not quite. But did the attention-stealing design distract you from noticing that the entire street has been changing right before your very eyes? Don't believe us? Have another look. Did you spot the van changing to a taxi? How about the scooter changing to a pair of bicycles? Or the lady holding a pig? Let alone the fact that the entire street is now completely different. Didn't think so.
Over the last year, school safety has become a bigger priority, not only in my role, but across the state. I had a very narrow view of what I thought that meant. Through various trainings, I have learned that school safety can be anything from the practices we do to protect our buildings, staff, and students, to the examination of trends that also impact our students. Marian Wright Edelman said, "Education is for improving the lives of others and for leaving your community and world better than you found it." I believe it is my responsibility to share with my community, which includes rural school staff and parents, what I have learned over the past several months, so hopefully I can leave the region better than I found it. So who should or could attend these webinars and why? I thought about who might benefit from this webinar series, and it dawned on me that any adult working with or supporting youth would benefit from understanding some of the recent trends in these areas. Many of these roles may seem obvious, but others might lead to questions. For example, it's pretty obvious that school administrators, teachers, school-based mental health teams, and parents work very closely with kids and have a vested interest in how the students perform. But so do custodians, aides, paraeducators, bus drivers, coaches. So why, though, might they want to attend? Well, custodians need to learn about these things because they are the ones who are seeing the leftover evidence that our students leave behind. Coaches might need to attend because they spend a lot of time in a much more casual setting with our youth. How about the bus driver? Some of these things are happening right under their noses on the buses. Not because they don't know or don't care, it's because they just aren't aware. Aides and paraeducators sometimes have the closest relationship with students. So really, any adult who interacts with youth and teens could benefit from keeping up on the latest trends that our kids are trying to hide. These are the topics that we will be covering this year. We will talk about some of the recent research and trends with vaping, including what the newest devices might look like. We will talk about stash compartments, also known as diversion safes, and how that Sharpie might be more than just a Sharpie. I will share what I have learned about gas stations and retail shops becoming the location to get some of the products that we don't want our kids using. Social media is also a changing world. We will discuss some of the most recent platforms and how we might help students use technology for good. There are a lot of substances that are coming out and readily available. They aren't necessarily illegal, but they have the damaging effects of the illicit drugs. What do we need to know about over-the-counter and unregulated substances? If our kids have access to the internet, there is a potential for them to be victims of sexting, pornography, and sextortion. What do we need to know about the online world when it comes to these areas? We know that technology is advancing so quickly. We can't be on top of everything. But we also need to know what are the secret hiding places our kids are utilizing to store all of this information on their phones and devices. Nelson Mandela said, "Education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world." Now that I know these things, it would be irresponsible of me to not share them. I need to educate others so that we can change the world together. These webinars will be live every fourth Monday except in December from 3 to 3:30 p.m. starting on Monday, September 23rd. I will try to keep it to the 30 minutes, but at the same time, there is so much information to share, and sometimes I'm just not sure what to cut out. You will be able to join using the same link every month to participate live. I know that Mondays don't work for everyone. There really is no day that would. Some of us have PLCs or other commitments from 3 to 3:30. So I am recording the webinars. The webinars will be recorded and then can be found approximately 1 week later by scanning this QR code or going to the nucenter.org website under the Mental Health Support tab. Also, if you are a licensed educator, you will be able to earn up to 0.5 hours, a half hour, of relicensure points for every webinar you watch and submit the survey, including this introduction survey. I can't award hours if you have not submitted the survey. This is a different QR code than was on the last page. You will want to make sure you use this one to enter the survey. It will be available with each webinar as well. You don't have to watch the webinar live during that month to have the hours. At the end of May, I will record any and all hours you have submitted into the Midas system, and it will show up on your Midas transcript. Once again, I am Holly Todd, and I work with Northeastern Utah Educational Services. Feel free to share this information with others who might benefit. You might want to have parents participate or other staff members. Now that I know this information, I have a responsibility to share it with others who might not know. Same for you. Once you know this information, you need to share it with those who may have a vested interest. If you have questions or comments, please feel free to reach out anytime.